Oh man, traders, it's been a bloody 2 weeks in the market and nobody but the bears have been having fun. We're going to get the ground running per usual. My name's D7 here with Grok Trade. Been trading in the live markets 23 years and I'm going to go fast because you guys like it fast, so let's make it happen. Pause the video. Get pencil and paper. I'm going to be throwing a lot of data at you. At the end of this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a personal video that has to do with an event that I had, so you'll appreciate. But let me give you the good stuff that will help you either save money or make money going into the markets and what we're seeing and what I'm looking at. First thing we're going to do is start out with the weekly charts. The reason I'm going to do candlesticks. I'm going to go over to line charts, and you'll understand why here in a moment as we do this. But bad news, spiders on the weekly chart broke a major trend line. Guys, that's no good. Don't like that in the slightest at all. That is bad news. Warning, warning, warning. This goes back to March 2020. We hit here at September 2021. We break that trend line. We got to stay above this moving average. If we can stay above that moving average, all is well out there in the market. That means basically that low of that candlestick, we cannot go lower or close lower than that going into the next couple of weeks, okay? Very important that we stay above that. We need to rally and heal itself very, very fast. If it heals itself, that will be a jab and it can get really bullish fast, okay? So that's something that we're looking at on the weekly chart on the Spiders S&P 500 ETF. All right. Now, the other thing I want to look at here is how much has this thing lost? So I'm using TradingView. There's a link down in the thing. There's a free version of it, or you're paid. I do the paid. I do the $60 one, which they give me because I use it in my videos. But if I look here, look at this. Spider in the last 2 weeks from the high to the low has lost over 5%. Last week alone, and I'm looking at this number right here. Last week alone, we're down 1.2%. Diamonds were down. Oh my goodness, look at this. Diamonds the last few weeks. I mean, what a horrible month. From high to low, okay? We have lost 7% on the Dow by itself. Just the last week alone, we are down just under 1%. Just under 1%. The Nasdaq in the last just 2 weeks, high to low, we're down over 7%. Craziness. Just this last week alone, down more than 2%. The Russell's 2000 just this last week is down almost 4%, 3.65% for the week. Holy smokes, this is going to be a bloodbath. If I go from the highs to the lows, down almost 13%. In a month, in 4 weeks. Ouch. Horrible. Financials just this last week were down almost 2%. Guys, these are big numbers for a weekly drop. I mean, put it in perspective for a second. The markets go up 11.8% per year on average. In the last 45 years, average them out, it's 11.8% per year. 11.8% up, right? On average. If we drop 2% in 1 week times 52 weeks, you can see it's a sizable, significant drop. So, relatively speaking, we have been in a bloodbath this last month. Bad drops. Bad drops. Okay, so let me keep moving here. That's dropped over 8% financials since the high to the low of this down leg. So I wanted to show this to you. Now, the next thing I want to do is go to the monthly charts. So I'm going to start off with monthly charts, which I normally do not do, but I want to show with you why. Here's my concern. On the monthly chart, nothing is more powerful than the higher time frames to the lower time frame. So in other words, a monthly chart holds more weight than the lower time frame charts. A daily chart holds more weight than an hourly chart. Hourly chart holds more weight than a 5-minute chart. You get the point. Monthly chart is one of the highest time frames you can get, and it is the king when it comes to time frames. So you never want to trade against the monthly. Okay, that's the name of the game. Especially if you're doing a time frame that's relatively close in a lower area. Now, What we have here is we're above a trend line. We have not broke this trend line, but we're at support. That's a good buying opportunity, a good buy spot to rally higher again, to keep on this trajectory. The problem is this type of trajectory, this is really, really steep, is hard to maintain. Usually they pop up and then they yank back really, really quickly. Now, the thing that concerns me is we have a higher swing high here, but on the MACD we have a lower swing high. On the RSI we have a lower swing high. So these are called negative divergences. Usually you get those before they happen here next. So it's almost a forward telling thing that's going to happen. This is showing a lot of weakness. We could be topping out. We got to stay above this trend line. If we do not stay above this trend line and we close below it for the month, we're just getting started here in December. The last time we had a losing month in December was 2017. 2017 was the last time we had a losing December month, okay? So we've been seeing bullish Decembers, but normally we haven't been at these extreme peaks. So to me, we're on very thin ice. We're up here. If we break that trend line, woe to the markets. If the S&P breaks that trend line, this is the high. We will continue down. It could be a tremendous bloodbath to the downside. So we have to watch this trend line. If this trend line stays solid, we're in good shape. But let me just say it this way. If that trend line breaks, that has to happen first. You can't have a colossal bloodbath, bear correction in the markets or a bear market, a big market turn down, unless that trend line gets broken. If it's above it, we're okay in the world. Now, it could drop and then base sideways for a while. It absolutely could do that. But all I know is that the trend line, it is mandatory. It is logically impossible to crash down unless that trend line is broken. That's why I sound the alarms when trend lines get broken, because that tells me that there is relative weakness out there. Now, the diamonds, you look at the diamonds, it has on the monthly chart already broke down below it. And we already had these bearish divergences. The diamonds have broken the trend line on the monthly chart. Nasdaq has just broken. Now remember, the month's not over yet. I want everybody to understand this. When I say it's broken, it might heal itself. This is right now the trend line that I want to just get we're down below it right now. Do you guys see this? At the time of this video, we are down below that trend line. We need to heal and get back above it, okay? So what we're going to end up doing is looking at other time frames to find out if we think it will do that or not. So that is problematic, guys. That is big time warning. That is problem when the Qs have broken a major monthly trend line. That could spell disaster. But we won't know until the end of this month how it will fare out. So that's something we've got to look at and wait for. Weekly charts are already stagnant they're static, they're unmoving, but this is still a dynamic chart. If you go here to the Russell's 2000, it broke a trend line. This trend line is here, and let me snap right there. We broke it how many weeks ago? That was 2 weeks ago. So last month we broke that trend line. This month we're starting off bearish. For this month to be bearish like it is, it had to first break that trend line. We did break it, and that's what we're seeing. But see how it's basing sideways? I'm watching this. This is a sideways base. We're not seeing a sizable drop to the downside. As long as we stay above this moving average, I'll be really happy with that. The financials, if you look here, we broke this a long time ago. It rallied up, and what was support is acting as resistance. If I go here to a chart, you'll see this. We broke it. Resistance, and now it's dropping. And so this is problematic. We got to stay above this moving average if we're going to stay solvent here in the markets and to be, to stay good. We're just teetering. We're breaking trend lines on the big time frames, and the best we can hope if it breaks that trend line is if we're bracing sideways. We just need to stay sideways and let these moving averages remain as support. So that's what we're looking at, the big time frames. Now, if you look at the dollar, this is the monthly. We've just been up, and we're up over all major moving averages. Dollar is really, really strong. We have an inflationary issue that we're dealing with. If you look here at silver, we're dropping, and you can come on through. This is my daughter, Kendra. Say hello. You're out of here, right? Yeah. Okay, bye. So for those of you that don't know, she's my 15-year-old, and I have two daughters, 15 and 18, and daughters, love them to death. And so anyway, we are in a little townhouse here in Tampa. We moved here because I own another financial company, and we deal with, anyway, a financial company that I'm not allowed to talk about, not because it's what I'm doing is illegal. It's because I'm not legally able to put myself out there as a financial advisor. Okay, so with that said, moving to Florida was the option to be able to do what I'm doing, and that's why we're here. But I was not going to pay the prices that we're paying. These are insane prices that's going prices. So anyway, I'm in this little townhouse until we find our home, and we may build or whatever we're looking at. That was a lot of information, useless information that you don't care about. So gold, if you look here, we're at major support. We're hanging out on that lower trend line too long. I don't like that. It could get weak and drop, or this is a buy opportunity and we'll rally up and then explode through. We're coming to the apex of this symmetrical triangle, but I just don't like how the line, we go up there, we touched and we dropped, we touched, but then we touched again. We're staying down here at the lower part, not liking that. Okay. VIX on the monthly, if you look here, we're up over 30. The problem is since 2008, the big financial crash, 2008, we've only been at 30 on the VIX 6 times. 6 times is all it's been, and that's where we're at right now. Quick look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin for the month has just broken below the trend line. It could heal itself, come back up, and if so, that's a huge buy opportunity to the upside. And Ethereum is still in an uptrend, pulling down to a beautiful buy area. Okay, those are the monthly charts. Now, what I want to do, okay, is quickly look at the weeklies again, but this time we're going to do it through the eyes of the trend lines with the line. We're going to start here with the Spider. Spider broke a trend line. Guys, that's bad news. That moving average has to act as support. For anybody that's wondering what that's a 20 MA, that 20 moving average for the weekly needs to act as support, just like it did right there, okay? We dipped below it and then bounce. We touched it and bounce. We need to touch it and bounce. That has to happen. So, but this has broke the eyes. This is a static candlestick, meaning that we did in fact break a trend line. That is no good. The diamonds broke one trend line a couple weeks ago and another trend line this week. That is horrible. The Nasdaq, the Nasdaq, the Qs in an uptrend at support level. That's a good buy opportunity, perhaps on tech. Let's see if we can stay up or if it's going to follow the rest of the markets and break trend lines like the others are doing on the weekly chart. Russell's 2000 broke a major trend line. That happened this last week. 2 weeks ago, we broke the first trend line. When that happened, whoa, to the markets, boom, and it happened again. We have one more trend line. Will it stay afloat? Maybe. And if it does, that's what it's going to need. We need to rally back up, heal itself, get back above the trend line, and it may do that. It may not do that, but that's problematic, at best. So if I quickly look here, look at this, how we're going. We go down there on the MACD. Here in that same area, we're going up. Bearish divergences, so it doesn't surprise us that we drop like we did. Those bearish divergences tell us the future, and that those are really problematic to bulls. When you are trading something to the upside, you get a bearish divergence, things start crashing down to the downside. Very, very typical. Financials on the weekly chart, up, but we broke a trend line. If you go here, it actually broke it 3 weeks ago. We broke it 3 weeks ago. Last week that happened. This most recent week, we broke down, and we broke down below the 20-day moving average. Guys, 20-week moving average. That is bad news. Remember how I'm saying the rest of the markets, hey, if we can stay above that 20-day, well, we're not doing it on financials. The market's only as strong as the financials there to support them. Always remember that. Never forget it. I have the financials showing significant weakness to the downside. I can't help but to think it's because of the inflation issue that we're dealing with. Okay, so that's what we're looking at, okay? So we need this to really heal itself very, very quickly. See how we dropped below the 20-day, rallied up, dropped below it and rallied up? We need that to happen here. Drop below it and rally up. It has to do this. I don't think the markets are set up to do a market top right now. We don't have the catalyst to really send us down. So I see us having another push to the upside. I see that happening, technically speaking, but we have sustained serious damage in the market, serious damage. Weekly chart on the US dollar, up, up, up and away, very extended to the upside. Silver, we have a major area of support. If silver can get down to $20.06, SLV, that'd be good. Gold, gold GLD weekly chart. I want to actually plot. Oh, okay. I was going to say, where's my lines? It took a minute. We're at major support there. Big buy opportunities, it looks like there. VIX, like I said, haven't been to these areas for 6 times, whatever. But Bitcoin, we broke a major area of support on the weekly chart. That's no good. We need to be looking to rally higher. Ethereum broke a trend line, but we have a major trend line there. Will it hold? It may. Again, these are overpowered by the monthlies, but these will break down before the monthlies do. So we're seeing a lot of weakness on the weeklies, which may draw. Bye, babe. That was my wife that just slipped through. And it was funny. She gave me a little pat on the rumpus as she went through being funny. So everyone's leaving. I'm here at my house doing my thing. Normally they're so quiet and they don't want to interrupt the videos. I say, guys, don't worry about it. Walk through. If you have to go somewhere, don't wait in there, because it's hard to know. I mean, I can, drone on and on forever and they'll have to wait forever. But anyway, okay. So there's the weeklies. So those are the ones. The dailies, they really don't matter. I only want to look at a couple of them because nothing compares to the monthly and weeklies. But I want to show you something though. We're at major support on the daily, so that gives me hope that we could be rallying back northbound, because if you look, we're really overextended in the markets. And to the downside, the diamonds broke a trend line. Nasdaq is head and shoulders. We're down, but we're coming to a major area of support coming across. The 50-day moving average should act as some sort of support resistance. So the question is, are we going to rally back up for the next few weeks? That's the big question. We have a bearish divergence, you can see there, and then sure enough, we dropped thereafter. I always look at small caps. Small caps were sizably down. Bad news, and happening on huge volume on the daily side. Financials, down. Found support and bounce at a trend line. So it'd be interesting to see if we can rally back up to this upper trend line here in the markets. So that's something that we are looking at. Okay, with that, long video. I'm going to make it a little bit longer. Let me tell you the story. The video that you're getting ready to watch is something. So I live here in Tampa, north side of West Chase, Florida. And we have this pond next to us. And that pond has 3 or 4 alligators in it and all these birds. We're from Indianapolis, so we don't have alligators. We don't have all these different birds. Now, I have a lot. My maternal side is all Cajun. My grandma speaks fluent French. I mean, we're as Cajun as you can get, okay? But I didn't live down there. But I'm there a lot, and all my maternal family is there. So I have very thick Cajun blood in me. And so I'm familiar with the gators and the wildlife. But here in Tampa, when you're living with them, it's still a neat factor, right? So in the mornings, we'll go out, and in the evenings, we'll look for the gators. We'll look at wildlife. We'll sit on these swings. Well, there's this bird called an anhinga, A-N-H-I-N-G-A. They call it the snake bird. It swims underwater with a long neck, long beak, real pointy, and people think it's a snake. They also call it a water turkey around here. But there was one around. They're very skittish. You can't get near them, and they're the ones that fan out their wings to dry out because they don't have oil in their feathers like the rest of the birds do. So when they're underwater feeding, they come out and fan them. They have to dry out before they can fly, okay? So those are the birds. You'll see this bird shortly. I'm getting ready to show you the video of this. Well, what happened was we saw this bird and it had a big thing of mesh on its beak. They harpoon their fish underwater. Their neck comes back like a snake, and they harpoon with this needle-like beak or bill. And it had all this clump of mesh and twine over its bill, and I felt bad for it. I couldn't believe for days we were seeing this, and people were like, yeah, the bird just won't let you get close to it. They're very skittish birds. So it's not like a duck where you can get kind of close to a duck or a goose. Not these birds. And I just felt so bad for it. And but a couple of days in, my wife was able to get kind of close to it. And I thought, this bird is not flying away, almost like it's looking for help. Well, sure enough, she got a little closer and then it flew off. The very next day, we're drinking coffee. We're heading down to the pond, which is right next to us, and we're sitting in the swing. That Anhinga was across the pond, sees us, comes into the water, and starts swimming a beeline to us. We're like, look at this. That bird's coming right at us. Came right at us. And I said, gave my phone to my wife, and just say, get ready to hit record. She didn't know what I was about to do. Anyway, the bird came up to us like it wanted our help. I stand up to kind of get close to it. Instincts click in and it dives underwater. So it would pop up down the bank a little bit. I'd walk down a bit. It would dive underwater. The interesting thing was it wasn't taking off. It was staying right in our area. When it went underwater, I saw it was by the bank. I jumped in like a wild, long-armed spider monkey on top of this thing in the water. Boom! Splashes everywhere. This thing's trying to take off. It tries to grab it. It's a fast swim, man. I get this thing, and the video that pops up, okay, when you see it, is me trying to keep it calm and trying to get it up to the shoreline. That's where you're going to see. Just so you know, we get it up there. I could not pull the twine off. These beaks have these teeth at the end that go back, so when it grabs something, the thing can't get away. Their prey can't get out. That twine was all meshed in there. So you couldn't just pull the twine off. It was stuck on there because of the teeth. And a neighbor we called over, he brought over a knife and scissors. It took us over 20 minutes to save this Anhinga. It took forever. In the middle of the video, see if you can see it yourself, the Anhinga chills out completely. It knew early in our process that we were there to help it. It just laid there and watched us help it. After we were done, it flew off. It didn't dive underwater. It stayed up. It did put distance between us. It went through some trauma, right? It was, mental and emotional trauma. But then it swam right over to a log near us. And it started grooming itself for the first time ever. I'm sure he was hungry. He'll be hunting fish there soon after. Well, when we got up near it, this isn't part of the video, and no one would know this unless I shared it. We got up around it. I took a picture at the end. You'll see the picture of it, but I didn't get a video of it. That bird saw us coming and faced us. They never face you like that. They don't and then did this weird wiggle of its body, which we have never seen, and we see these birds all the time, almost like it was saying thank you to us. It was an amazing thing. I love wildlife. Enjoy the video and share it with a friend. We'll talk to you later. Bye. Got him. Okay. I'm going to help you. It's easy.
Easy. It's all right. Easy. It's all right.
Okay.
It's all right.
I'm going to help you.
It's all right. It's all right. Can you hold him and I'll go get some scissors?
Let's ask this guy.
Where? It's all right. It's all right. It's okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's been caught, yeah.
what's it?
Yeah, we can't figure out why it just won't come off. It's caught somehow. Make sure you're not getting his beak. There we go. Poor little guy. Yeah, we saw him, what was that, Des, 2 days ago with this thing?
Let me cut more.
Yeah.
Whoops. Getting closer.
Yeah.
Getting closer.
Oh my goodness, it's so... See, it's like it's caught right there in his beak. In that little area.
Be very careful.
Yeah, even with your thumb. Man. Can you keep cutting with the scissors maybe and getting it smaller and smaller and then...
Yeah.
I wonder if that'll... Almost.
Yeah.
We
Wow.
did it!
Yay! Oh
Hey,
my goodness, dude.
You're free to go.
Yay!
I jumped in.
He jumped in.
I jumped in and grabbed
Oh.
All right. Well, here's the bird. It came up right next to us after we helped it, and seems to be very happy right now. Look at that. He's grooming himself. Hasn't been able to do that.